Laker trade reports are starting to heat up as the Lakers have been linked to another big man out there who could be more gettable than ever, especially with the recent happenings in the draft lottery and this trade market that could be very busy this summer with player movement and a prime opportunity for Rob Pelinka and the Lakers to strike another deal in their favor. What's good? I'm Okechi Apakama, and this is Lakers Digest coming at you with another video. And before we get into everything we have for today's video, guys, I just want to remind you to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already to get those Laker updates, especially with us pushing towards our goal of 20,000 subscribers, guys. We just passed 18,600, so I want to thank each and every one of you guys who subscribes to the channel because it really, truly helps out. Now, with that out of the way, let's hop straight into the topics we have for you today as Toronto could move Jakob Poeltl. So, the Lakers, who are in the market for a big man, and it's been well documented here as Rob Pelinka said it as much and multiple times, and they already made a trade for a center in Mark Williams, but it ended up being rescinded. So the Lakers are still looking for that big man to help pair with Luka Doncic, and another name to possibly throw into the ring there is Jakob Poeltl, and this has been a name that has been rumored to come to Lakers before in the past to pair up with a guy like Anthony Davis, just because of his ability to play the 5 slot and be like a sturdy individual down there in the paint. But now with the Lakers not having a real center at all, Jakob Poeltl's tools can be very necessary for what the Lakers need to do next season. So this is coming from Mike Scuduto of Hoops Hype, and then he said Poeltl is owed over 19.5 million for the 2025-2026 season and has a player option for the same figure for the 2026-2027 season. Should Poeltl not get an extension done with Toronto, a team such as the Los Angeles Lakers, who is seeking an upgrade at center, could have trade interest. Poeltl has previously signaled he likes to get an extension done and remain a Raptor if possible, and Ujira called him the backbone in his exit media availability. But with things nowadays, especially with how much play movement there is, loyalty isn't really a true thing out there. So yes, they could be one thing, or if there is a trade that the Raptors seem to like and could help their team, they could move off of a guy like Jakob Poeltl. And for the Los Angeles Lakers, that would be great news because they can be able to attain a guy like Jakob Poeltl and not have to pay as much as they probably would have in like past trade cycles. So like before, a guy like Jakob Poeltl could go for maybe for 1 or even 2 first-round draft picks. Now, if you can get him now in the offseason and possibly in some of these trades that off of a bigger trade, then you can be able to scoop up a guy that is a very solid starting center for your team and could add some value to your squad. But there are some pros and cons to having a guy like Jakob Poeltl because there are some things he does well on the court, but there are some things that he doesn't do as so well, and then it kind of contributes to the bad things that he does on the court. So let's just take a little closer look at that as the pros and cons of having a guy like Jakob Poeltl on your roster. But first and foremost, like, he is a legit 7-footer, a big body out there, can set big screens, good rebounder. Is a guy has improved on his finishing and playmaking a little bit. He's been a guy that's been around the league for a couple of seasons. I believe it's more than 10 here. He started with the San Antonio Spurs and then was traded to the Toronto Raptors. But let's take a look at his stats list this past season. And he had career highs in points and rebounds there with 14.5 points per game and 9.6 rebounds per game. He had 2.8 assists to go along with 1.2 blocks and a very solid 1.2 steals per game. Had a very high field goal percentage rate because most of his baskets came in and around the rim, about 62% there. And while I did say he shot 33% on threes, it was only, I believe, like 3 attempts for the season. So he's not really much of a 3-point shooter whatsoever. But he is a guy that can be a very good finish for you in and around the rim. It's something that he has improved on in his time in the NBA. And just for his entire career, really, like I said, those were career highs for him in points and rebounds. And one more thing, which I think is a very, very big factor in trading for a center, is his free throw shooting. He is a notorious bad free throw shooter. Shoots about 55% for his career, but he shot 67% from the free throw line last season, which is a massive jump for a guy like Jakob Poeltl. And if he can show that type of improvement, that can really bode well for a team like the for the Los Angeles Lakers, especially if you want to have a guy like Jakob Poeltl on your roster, and you're gonna need him to close some games for you. So him hitting free throws is at a very decent rate is a very important part of this. But and then on also another thing that makes him I get more affordable and more gettable is his contract situation. So he's owed about like 19.5 million, as they said in that article there, and so that's his salary there at the bottom for the next couple of seasons. So he got paid 19.5 for the upcoming next season, and he'll have a player option for 19.5 the following season. So you have him at a pretty decent enough number, and the number is low enough where you wouldn't have to trade an Austin Reaves or Rui Hachimura to get a Jakob Poeltl. You can combine a Maxi Kleber or a Gabe Vincent, and then you can get that deal done, or maybe a Maxi Kleber and throw in some of the smaller contracts like the Shake Miltons, or maybe pick up Jordan Goodwin's option and then be able to get it to that number. So it is from a contract and player standpoint, it doesn't take that much of a salary to get him, and also the Raptors could be looking to move off of him depending on what they do with their draft pick at the number 9 pick and what they do on draft night, because they have a different team as they traded for a guy like Brandon Ingram. So they might want to shape their team more around like Scotty Barnes, Brandon Ingram, and RJ Barrett there. So they could be looking to move off a guy like Jakob Poeltl. Like I said, he is a very sturdy and solid center, but he is a little bit slow-footed when it comes to things. So he isn't really good at those speed attack. And when he's in open spaces and switches, he is not as good as he is when he is down there in the paint. Very similar to just like a lower tier defensively of a guy like a Rudy Gobert in some respects. But I do think he is a guy who is a bit more hand-eye coordinated when it comes to finishing and offensive skills and stuff like that. But just defensively, at least, he has a very similar profile to a guy like Rudy Gobert, but just not to the level that Rudy Gobert has reached in his career. But Jakob Poeltl is a very solid piece, and if you can get him for not trading, like I said, a Hachimura or even a Finney Smith or an Austin Reaves, then I think it's a big win for the Los Angeles Lakers. And this is something they should look to explore, especially if that can be one of your options at center, because I do think they do need two options at center. And if Jakob Poeltl is one of your options, that is a very good start, because he's a guy that for his career has been playing usually in that 26 minutes range, 22 to 26 minutes range there for most of his career. And so that's the type of minutes that you need from that center spot, and to do some of the things that he does at the value that he does it, because he is improving a little bit. Like I said, became a better finisher, improved as a passer, had his best rebounding season in his career. So Jakob Poeltl can add much value to his Laker team and be a very good screen and roll partner with Luka Doncic. And the other downside to him as well is he's not really much of a lob threat, but he still is a very good screen setter. So you can kind of use that to your advantage. But hopefully, if the Lakers can secure a guy like Jakob Poeltl, then you can go out and find more of that lob threat type of player to be sort of your backup and sort of your speed group to kind of be faster with different pairs of guys. But that's probably going to be it for this video here, guys. Make sure you guys comment down below of what you guys think of a guy like Jakob Poeltl. Do you think he can be a good piece for the Los Angeles Lakers going forward here? Could he slot right in next to Luka Doncic? Now, he isn't much of a lob threat, but he's a good rebounder, a good shot blocker down there in the paint, and a sturdy guy, so you can use him against those bigger dudes like those Jokic's and those Embiids and Ivica Zubac's of the world, because the Lakers are definitely going to need that type of center come next season. But let us know in the comments down below of what you guys think of Jakob Poeltl. And also, one more thing for us, guys. There is still 75% of you who have recently watched our video who are not subscribed to our channel just yet. And if you guys want more of this, like your news, like your updates, trade rumors, game recaps, just every and all things LA Lakers, you guys want to come right here to Lakers Digest so you don't miss any of that action. All right, I have been your host, Okechi Apakama, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.